First, I have to give you a notification that this hearing is being recorded in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law. Please be advised that this meeting will be broadcast live through local access cable on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. To participate remotely from a computer, go to the Zoom meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature to request to speak. I'd like to introduce the board again. To my left is Lisa Normandin. She's the board secretary. I'm Alfred Gravel. To my right is James Ezekatsky, Hans Winthrop, Tony Nicastro, and Don Gurney. Normally, Lisa would read the application and other submitted communications, but this is a continuance from September 25th concerning an appeal of the building commissioner's findings. So the applicant will have the opportunity for comments on the application or submission of additional documents. If you're here, you can come forward to the mic, give your name and address. Board members will have the opportunity to ask questions they might have on the applicant or your application while you're at the mic. And there will be a public comment period. Again, please come forward to the mic, give your name and address, and please address all comments and questions to the board. And with that, I would like to remind everybody that what is before this board. And what's before this board is the petitioners appealing the building commissioner's July 24th, 2024 decision regarding a shed to the rear of 10 Alder Way, allegedly in violation of the Lunenburg bylaw section 250-5.5C5 and 250-5.5C6. So the Board of Appeals will be considering that request in front of us. And with that, Lisa, do we have anything new that has come in that we need to read?
Well, on October 23rd, October 11th, I received this email from Jill Schaefer. Lisa, my client has informed me that they need to extend the hearing date once again. Therefore, please find this email a formal request to continue the October 23rd hearing for 1 month to November 27th, 2024. I do not anticipate the need for any further extensions, but I will keep you posted. Please contact me if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you, Jill.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant on Zoom?
Ms. Schaefer is on Zoom.
She is
Yes,
on
I'm
Zoom.
here.
Yes.
On Zoom.
Oh, there you are. Okay. You're asking for another continuance?
Yes, I also emailed Lisa in follow-up that my client is working on a plan to move the shed, and they've notified the vendor who installed it to get on their schedule to move it, and we anticipate that it will be moved by November 27th, your meeting, I guess in 2 meetings. So we were requesting a continuance at this time, anticipating the shed is going to be moved. If you'd prefer, we can withdraw without prejudice, with the understanding that if we reapply within a year, maybe you could waive the fee. But I think it might be easier to just do a continuance at this point.
Okay. I will bring that up to the board, but I'll tell you now, we are not, that would be the day before Thanksgiving, and I don't believe that we're going to meet on that date. So I think we have enough information in front of us at this point where we could actually hear this tonight and come to a conclusion and finally put this to bed. Are you prepared to do that?
Recording in progress.
We're planning to move the shed, so we're not going to be arguing the building commissioner's decision at this point.
Okay. So I think with that, I will ask if the board wants the continuance or whether they would prefer that we just continue on with the hearing tonight. What is
Or
that?
we could withdraw
Yeah,
without
we
prejudice.
we do have a hearing in 2 weeks. We could probably, I don't think that's a complicated hearing, I think we could put it on there, but I'm not going to the 27th. We're not gonna, and if we don't use that, we'll be into December, and I don't think we need to go that way.
I don't have any questions or feelings either way. If the shed is going to be removed, it's almost a moot point. If it's to be removed by the middle of November, then there's no need for, you could withdraw this without prejudice.
Right. We could do that at this meeting. We could withdraw without prejudice, but then I would request that if we did need to reapply, say within a year or something, I don't know. I guess that's not even a good point. We could withdraw without prejudice at this point, knowing that we're trying to get on the schedule to remove the shed, and we're just not on the schedule yet. And then you guys won't have to continue to any meeting future. But if we did need to reapply, then we would be doing it without prejudice.
Okay, I apologize, I have a little bit of trouble hearing it, but I've heard enough. The building commissioner is here, so I would like him to come up and comment on it while we're all here, before we take anything further.
Thank you. Brian Jingris, Building Commissioner, Town of Lunenburg. Yeah, we sent the violation notice on July 24th. We're 3 months in. We've had a last-minute appeal initially to delay enforcement action. We had a continuance. My understanding was they continued, they were just going to make it go away. We've asked for another continuance of the appeal of the determination that the shed is in violation. They're not appealing to get more time to remove a violation. By her own admission, it sounds like she's admitting that it is in violation. We're here to discuss the appeal of whether or not my findings were correct. I'd like to see that move forward. That moves forward. The board votes whichever way they vote. If they vote in favor that this notice was valid and that the shed is in violation, then it comes off the board's hands. It's a court matter at that point if it doesn't go away, if we start issuing fines. That's my take on it at this point. Basically, it's prolong. If they withdraw without prejudice, they're just going to come back and do it again.
Okay.
That's how I'm starting to read this situation from what I've just heard on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll bring it back to the board at this point. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with the building inspector. I mean, he's put a letter together clearly stating that they're in violation. So I think we should uphold it and vote on it.
Okay. I guess what I'm asking right now is just the continuance, if anybody's going to make a motion to continue or not. We will after we make this motion. So, is anyone going to make a motion for a continuance?
I don't see why we would continue it.
Okay.
I mean, if we think that the building inspector is correct in his decision about the shed being in the violation in the first place, they've had more than opportune time to move it, or at least discuss it. If council wants to talk about it tonight, we can hear her out and make
Okay.
a decision.
All right,
That's my
so-
feeling, Mr. Chairman.
So I'm not getting they're not giving me a motion to continue, so I think we're going to hear it tonight.
Then we're just going to withdraw at this point. I will work with the building inspector on the timing. We are in the process of working with the shed's installer on getting on their schedule and moving it. So we are going to move it. It just is not scheduled yet.
Could you repeat some of that?
Could you talk a little louder? We can't really hear you up here.
I think there's a
sorry.
problem with the
So,
volume in
at
the
this, Can you
office.
hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, repeat it again, please.
Okay, at this point, we will withdraw the appeal.
I think, though, that the shed is still there. See what I'm
Correct.
saying?
And
You
we will
actually,
work-
if,
we will work with
if we
building-
haven't decided whether, we agree with the building inspector or not, but to withdraw without prejudice, it usually goes away. In this case, it's still there. The shed is still whatever it is on the property. It's not been removed. So I don't know how we could let you withdraw without prejudice.
Because we are moving the shed. We are planning on moving the shed. We are working with.
But you've been
the-
planning on moving the shed for months. In other words, we can't,
No.
if you
Originally-
withdraw
originally
without
we
prejudice,
disagreed.
the shed's still there. It's still in violation tonight,
Right.
tomorrow, the next night.
Originally, we disagree with the building inspector's interpretation.
Well, that's why we're here, to hear that tonight.
Correct.
And either come up with yes or no.
So my client would prefer to move the shed, remove the shed, no matter what, whether we're right or the building inspector's right. We are going to move shed.
Well,
We are-
then it will come out the same. If you're gonna move the shed, if we make a decision tonight, then you're gonna move the shed anyway, and at least it puts it to bed. It's done, it's there right now.
Okay.
It's in
Then a better
violation or
alternative
not
is
in
that we-
violation, we don't know, because we haven't finished listening to all the comment.
Right.
Right.
We will withdraw with prejudice then, because we are not arguing against the building inspector's determination at this point. We are removing the shed. We have decided to move the shed no matter
So-
who is right.
So basically, at this
So-
point, you're admitting that the shed is in violation, and that it
We're
will...
not, we're not, we are removing the shed at this point without admitting anything. We are removing the shed. We are working with the vendor that installed it to get on their schedule so that we can move it. So then.
Do you have an
like
actual-
board
I
members
mean-
said, This is moot.
Who-
We're not arguing whether the building inspector's interpretation of the bylaws was.
Well, that's what your
correct.
application in front of us is.
And that's why
That's-
we're withdrawing it. We withdraw it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah.
And it's probably for the board. You know, the applicant wants to withdraw with prejudice. Can we put a time limit, give her 10 business days, give them 10 business days to move that shed? I don't think we can because, I mean, they can come back. They could come back and appeal the decision of the
Yeah.
building inspector again if we give them, let them withdraw with prejudice. The whole point is if we make a decision, they can't come back. Correct?
Correct.
Right. And at this point, we would like to work with the building commissioner on timing and figure out the best way to get the shed
I
removed.
personally am not comfortable with letting you withdraw when it's all sitting before us and apparently has been going on since July. And here we are towards the end of October. You're telling us you're gonna move a shed that we have heard previously that this was gonna go away. I'm moving the shed, I'm moving the shed, I'm moving the shed. And the shed's still there.
Right. We received a letter in July, end of July, and then we had an appeal period. We had a time to research the issue, and we appealed it. So there was a period of time where we were researching the issue, and then we appealed it, and then we were not ready to decide if we were going to argue the case or remove the shed. The client has decided to remove the shed. That's what they are going to do. Timing has been an issue because of the vendor that installed the shed not being available.
And so do you have a firm date now? You have a firm date? He's
Me-
gonna move it next Monday?
Well, the last my client heard, it would definitely be done by the end of November. That's why I originally requested a continuance until the end of November so that I could come back and say, we've already removed the shed. So that was the original idea of the continuance until the end of November, because we will definitely be on their schedule by then.
Again, I'll go back to the board if there's any comments on what they're trying to do. I personally don't. I'm not comfortable with the
Mr.
shed
Chairman, I
there.
think I would vote to, on a resolution to uphold the decision, the July 24, 2024 decision of the building commissioner.
Okay, do I have a second?
I think that's the issue
You
before
know,
us.
I have to go to public comment. We've had no public comment, so I can't accept the motion. Yes. Name and address, please.
George Burden, 39 Cortlandt Circle. You've seen some of my material that I've sent you on this. This is I thank you for coming here tonight, allowing me to speak honestly. This is a very emotional situation for my family. My wife would have liked to have been here tonight. She has commitments with our daughters. I'm very emotional about this, as you know. This is actually a fine against us, my association, so this is something that's going against me as well. I'm here to do the right thing. We have internal bylaws that state they should not have a structure. I told the trustees back in February this should have been moved. We're now in October. It's mentally abusive, and I'll tell you why it's mentally abusive. I got charged $20,000 by the same attorneys and the same trustees that are being represented this individual here for supposedly having something on common land, a tarp from an individual that was harassing me, that I put up, and I had to get the police to stop, and they wouldn't help me. We put a tarp up to prevent it. I can go into that, the history of that. It's a disgusting story. It's like something you'd see in Florida. Honestly, it's disgusting. I ask that they playing games here. It's trickery. You've seen my material. They asked for an extension previously. No reason why. They're asking for an extension now. I ask that the fines go back from the day that they would have gone, $300 a day from July, and that's going to be against myself. Think about it. It's unrightful. It's a bylaw. We shouldn't even be in the town right now discussing this. We shouldn't have been wasting the town's time. We shouldn't have been spending money to notify people twice. Now you're going to have to notify people 3 times. How much is that going to cost the town? I mean, think of the whole thing, the morals, the ethical, anything you want to think about. I'm going to leave it there. I could go on for days, honestly. This is disgusting. And you're going to allow someone, this attorney, is helping this guy protect the shed while he's harassing someone else. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to ask Brian if he has any other comments he would like to make.
I'd actually ask the board if we want to go over all the material that was presented, or if you guys are already okay with what you have.
If you want to highlight it, that would
Okay.
be fine.
Okay, so I presented, prepared a few documents for you guys, including some photos, the letter showing when the shed was installed, a site plan as-built showing 10 Alder, otherwise known as Exclusive Use Area 21, depicting exactly where the rear lot line is, scaled, and I did bring a ruler in case anybody wants to use the scale even, because this gets a little convoluted. Because we do not have an accurate plan showing exactly where the shed is. But what we have are a series of plans and dimensions that show where the shed is when you extrapolate through all of them. So you have Exhibit A, which is your site plan, that shows the as-built location of the structure, of the home itself, which shows approximately 70 feet plus or minus to that rear lot line to the common area, the 25-foot common strip that is shown on your additional site plans labeled Exhibit D. So if we take your Exhibit A, which is 70 feet, and our near map imagery that we're able to dimension based on how we zoom in and out, the same points on the house come to 67.59 feet. So not exactly 70, it's a margin of error of 4%. However, the shed is located an additional at 78 feet, well into the common area, no matter how you depict it. We're not talking about a situation where we're splitting hairs over 6 inches. Are we too close to a lot line or not? The structure according to the bylaw, needed to be 50 feet from a lot line. That lot line would have been the common area with Elmwood. The planning board further granted waivers later, actually modified the decision, which Mr. Burden was a part of, allowing for sheds within the exclusive use area, 15 feet from their exclusive use lines and 40 feet from the front setback. That would have put the shed approximately 40 feet from, again, the common lot line with the trust/common area and the Elmwood Road property. The shed would have had to be still 40 feet back from that line. We are 6 feet plus or minus 4% using the near map imagery. Not even a point of discussion at this point. Again, we're not talking a matter of inches, we're talking a matter of 40 plus feet that we're off. The second point that they're arguing is more or less a point of intent. What was the intent of natural state? Because the planning board decisions never use the term natural state. However, they refer to where areas are supposed to be maintained, trails. In particular, there's no trail identified through that common area. That area was supposed to be left intact. That's the reason why you have an exclusive use area brought back away from the lot lines. It provides a natural buffer zone. The shed, by being placed, disturbs the natural state, otherwise known as the buffer zone, that was intended under the planning board decision. That's the 2 points that the appellants were arguing, and that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
If anybody's got any questions for me, or if you want a ruler.
Thank you very much. Okay. We had public, I'm bringing it back to the board. I think the first thing is,
Are there any other comments, public comments on Zoom?
anybody got to raise hand?
No other comments on Zoom.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think first thing we're gonna discuss is, we're gonna hear it tonight, we're not gonna allow the continuance, so we are.
So the main purpose of what we are deciding on this is, was the building inspector correct in his decision that this building is in violation? And that's it.
And that's it.
Okay.
I say we vote tonight.
All right, so if somebody can make a motion that we're not gonna continue,
Well, I think Donald did, but
I don't believe you. Make a motion, we not
Okay,
continue.
I move that the zoning board of appeals uphold the July 24, 2024 decision of the
But that-
building commissioner.
I wanna get the other one out of the way first,
which is that?
which is that we're not gonna allow a continuance.
Well, I think by making a motion and voting on it, there is no.
Well, I think we
Continuance.
gotta put them in order. We gotta get rid of them. Or make it in the motion. Make sure that,
Okay, I move that we do not grant a continuance tonight of this public hearing.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, with that, there are another motion if there's no other comments.
And I move that the zoning board of appeals uphold the July 2024 decision of the building commissioner.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And aye. Okay, and with that, we have upheld the decision of the building inspector. I do have to tell you that a copy of the board's decision shall be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. Any party aggrieved by on the board's decision may appeal to Superior Court 20 days after the decision is filed with the town clerk. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Board.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good night. With that, there is no other hearing, so...
I'll make a
I'd like to
motion, we
make a
adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And aye. And with that, the hearing is over.